So 6 steps to flipping across borders. Step number 1, select your investment area. Okay. Now, I am bullish on Atlanta. I'm bullish on Tampa. I'm bullish on Fort Myers. I'm bullish on Orlando. I'm bullish on Greensville, South Carolina. I'm bullish on, what's the triangle there? Raleigh, Durham. Anything in the southeast corridor is hot. Now remember, there's 10,000 people a day in the United States of America turning 65 years of age or older. So you want to concentrate in the southeastern corridor because that's where you're going to see the largest transfer of population from the northern snowy cold weather climate cities, with those populations moving down into warmer climate areas. Okay, so that's where you're going to see the highest uptick or opportunity on future appreciation is in those southeastern markets. Now, for those of you that are over in the west, like me, okay, the areas that you should be focused on are Las Vegas. Las Vegas has been hit hard by COVID. They are predominantly a tourism and hospitality industry. And with hotels and casinos being shut down literally for months, there's a lot of pain and anguish in Vegas, which creates opportunity. Now, there is this outlier that we haven't talked openly about here during the CEO Fireside Chat that you all need to be aware of, and that is the coming onslaught of foreclosures and evictions that have been stalled. Now, they've pushed it to June, so no evictions or foreclosures. Now until June, this is nationwide. Now, this is on government-backed loans, so Fannie, Freddie, VA, FHA, HUD, USDA. Any type of government-backed loan cannot be foreclosed on. Now, if it is a conventional loan where the property has been deemed vacant, so the occupant has vacated the asset, or it has been determined that it was an investment property and is not owner-occupied, banks can still foreclose on those asset classes. So we are starting to see a small trickle of foreclosures coming through. So if it's been a while since you've looked at your local county recorder's office, your county courthouse for your Liz Pendants filings or your lien, your Liz Pendants or your notice of default filings, I would encourage you to go back and check that lead pipe again. Because we are starting to see a few things trickling through that. And we have purchased a couple of houses at foreclosure auction in the last 8 months. Not a lot, but that type of inventory is still eking its way through. Now, come June, when these moratoriums are lifted, and I've heard rumors that they're now going to push to September of 2021, okay? If it happens in June, be ready for it, okay? Because when this new inventory starts to enter the marketplace, we're going to start seeing an elongation of days on market as new inventory is coming in. Also, with masks coming down and rates going up, we should start to see a leveling off of the real estate markets, and I expect to see a lot of markets leveling off in late Q3, potentially early Q4. So watch for those signs. Masks down, rates up, foreclosure moratoriums lifted, new inventory hitting the market in the form of foreclosures and REOs. Okay? All of these things kind of converging at once is going to create a decline in valuation. So hopefully that will cool things off a little bit, which I think would be really helpful. You know what I was thinking as I was just saying all of these things? I would be a great weatherman.
You would.
Don't you think? That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking, in the southeast, things are cooling. The sun is rising, the snow is falling.
But make it a real estate.
All right, got to have some fun. So what do? You select your investment area. Okay? You start by researching growing real estate markets, look at job growth, look at occupancy rates, and the number of available listings. These factors will help you pinpoint locations that might be well suited to virtual wholesaling. Most wholesalers prefer to operate in neighborhoods with home values averaging between 100 and 200,000. Assess neighborhoods by home value and then look for homes within that neighborhood and find the right home and then expand out into the full neighborhood. Just relax. I'm going to come back to this slide here, okay? So you guys can make sure you take some of these things down. Now guys, what I'm giving you in this slide is the benchmarks of exactly what it is you're looking for. Okay, we're looking for up and coming markets, which is not going to be your A's and your B's. Okay, this is not going to be your Memphis and your Nashville. This is not going to be your Dallas or Houston. Okay, these are going to be your outlying suburban areas. So find the core and go outside of the core a good 75 to 150 miles from the core. And that's where you're going to see the most growth, because as the urban sprawl goes out, okay, it's everybody leaving the core and moving out in the suburban areas. Now, there have been some concerns that with herd immunity starting to take effect, or at least what appears to be herd immunity starting to take effect, that people are going to start moving back into the interior corridor. And we're not seeing that. Housing and apartments and condos in the inner corridor are still selling at a slower clip and a lower rate than stuff that is outside of the city limits. So this is where you're going to see your growth. Now, there is an opportunity if you have the capital, okay? If you've got a bunch of cash, and a lot of hedge funds are now doing this, where they're going into the urban core and they're buying up through short sale and foreclosure, defaulted sellers and motivated sellers, because a lot of those downtown condominiums, the high-rise living, that stuff's sitting. It's languishing on the market because people want land, people want single-family homes, so they're kind of avoiding that particular product type. And you can buy it real cheap right now. So if you've got cash or you've got good credit and you can go out and get some of that cheap bank financing, this is a good product to buy and hold if you've got the cash, okay? It's not a great product to flip because right now there is not a strong buyer pool, particularly for that type of investment, unless it was Airbnb, okay? But then you've got an issue with HOAs and you got to check the building ordinances, whether or not you can Airbnb. And I will also be so bold to say this. Airbnb is in trouble, because most downtown corridors don't want it. Most buildings, most HOAs, most property management companies, they don't want the Airbnb because it typically attracts a vacationing audience who tend to stay up late, drink a lot, be really loud, party. And so the neighbors are really anti-Airbnb. So if you can find opportunities where Airbnb is allowed, then certainly move forward. But check your numbers very closely. Okay, so that centralized urban core of the downtown corridor, there's some opportunity there if you can ride out the storm until they come fleeing back into the city. And I believe that'll happen Q3, Q4 of this year, as they realize that driving and traffic and public transportation and trains is not worth the effort when I can just go down an elevator and walk across the street and go to my office.